In this quick beginner tutorial, I want to take you through every step on how you can create a one-page website using the Elementor Flexbox feature. By following this tutorial, I'll show you the simplest ways to get started using the Elementor Flexbox feature without any prior technical knowledge or even how to use Elementor itself. We will be able to create our header, our navigation, add a welcome message like this, add an animated text over right here, add our services, add our story section, add a gallery, add testimonials, add our address and the map, and a contact form where your website visitors can be able to write to you. It is a very simple beginner tutorial, and I guarantee you that by watching this tutorial, you'll not only learn how to set up your Elementor global styles and colors, but also how to play around the responsive settings, getting the colors right, getting the typography right, and a lot more. And on the other side, if you ever wanted to create a one-page website where your website visitor is able to get all the content or information about your business, this is a tutorial for you, because when someone visits your website link, just like this over here, by entering in your domain name, they'll be brought to your website landing page or your one-page website, and they're able to navigate through the other sections just by clicking on the menu items over here, and they'll be taken straight to those sections. I'll take you through every step on how you can configure this and get your website up and running. Without any further ado, let's jump straight into the video and get started. To get started, I suppose you have a fresh install of WordPress. This can be on a self-hosted platform when you have your own host and your own domain name. For my case, I have an Elementor Pro account and I already have WordPress installed, including the Elementor Pro plugin, because we're actually going to be needing the Elementor Pro plugin in this tutorial. And therefore, under my plugins area, I have the Elementor plugin and the Elementor Pro plugin. For if you don't have Elementor Pro, I'm going to be leaving my affiliate link right down in the description. If you use it, I get a small commission, and that way I'm able to be making more tutorials just like this. On the other hand, if you want to try out the Elementor Cloud, I'll also be leaving a link in the description of this video so you can go check it out. And we're now back into our WordPress website. When I go to pages, I'm going to be creating a new page. So here I'll say add a new page, and this is going to be our home page. This is a page that will be holding all our website sections, and when someone clicks on the menu, they'll be jumping straight to that section. So I'll say home, and I'll say publish. The next thing I'll be doing is to come here to the appearance section and come to menus so we can create our navigation. I'll name this to be our main menu, and I'll add the home page as our very first menu item, and then I'll be using custom links for all the other menu items. So in this case, I'm going to name this to be about, then the link text is about, next is going to be services, link text is services, and lastly it is going to be a contact. So please take note of the hash sign that I'm adding pre the word contact or testimonials or services, because this will be representing the container or section that we are pointing to on that page from the menu. Right now, I'll also be adding this. Great. I can reorder any of these to where I want them, but for now, all looks good. I'm going to come over here to save changes. For this tutorial, the theme I'm using really doesn't matter because I'm going to be building everything using Elementor. Next on the list is to enable the Flexbox container, because that is what we're going to be using to build up our page. However, when the Flexbox feature is officially released, we won't be having to do this extra step. For now, I'm going to go to Elementor, Settings, Experiments, and I'll scroll down below here, and I come here to the Flexbox container and I'll activate it. And this will enable us to be able to create our website using the Flexbox containers instead of sections and columns. I'll now go back to my pages, all pages, and I'll edit this home page with Elementor. Say edit with Elementor, Once this opens up, I'm going to come here to the hamburger icon. I come straight to the site settings. Under the site settings, we are able to add our site identity, logos, and what our website is all about, and also be able to adjust our global colors and fonts. We'll start up with our site identity, and the site name is Zion Shoe Clinic, best shoe repair service provider since 2007. I'll add a site logo. I already have my files organized on my desktop, so I have all the images and the logos in one folder. I'll upload them. I'll add my site logo. I'll add the alternative text to enable screen readers read our website or read our content of our website. I'll add the site favicon, which is this here. So I'll also insert it. That is what will appear right at the top when our tab is open. So now I'll update. I'll go back to the site settings, and now I'll come here to the global colors. I'll leave the primary color and the text color as is, and I'm going to simply make some changes on the secondary color and the accent color, and I'll also add one more color, which will be our second accent color. So for the first accent color, I'm going to make it to be a red, and for our secondary color, I'm going to make it to be a blue, and for our additional color, which is going to be our second accent color, it's going to be a yellow. So accent 2, I'll add our yellow color code, and there we go. So I'll update. Now we are going to go back and come here to the global fonts, and we're going to set up how our font faces are going to look like. For example, for the primary text, we'll change it from Roboto to Comforter, which is what I'm using, and the font size will be 35 pixels. The secondary text is going to be our heading text or the main headings, and this is going to also be Comforter, 45 pixels and 600 in weight. For the text itself, it's also going to be Comforter, and that is going to be 16 pixels. We will not be using the accent font style. Now I will update. Then I'm going to exit this and go back to our editor. So I'll just close this over. And I'm going to start off by first of all deleting the footer because we don't need the default footer. And now we have to edit the header. So I will save the changes and then jump into the header. So in this case, we are going to first of all add a new container. So I'll say add a new container, grab our container. We're able to choose the container widget because we have already enabled the Flexbox container under experiments. I'll start off by deleting everything that I don't need. So in this case, I'll grab my navigator and I will delete this header. I'll rename the container to be our header. Then I'm going to add my site logo, which is this here. But then I don't want to have the site name with a logo. But by default, the logo was made having the site name or the website name. And to remove the site name, we are going to simply go in the media library and then we edit our image for the logo. So to do that, we are going to go back here to the dashboard and we'll come to the media library. We will grab our image logo and we'll crop this image and only remain with what we want to have on our logo. Good. So I'll say crop, save. And now I'll close this Now when I come back here to my pages, all pages, I'll open up my page again with Elementor. Now as you see in our header, we have the logo but without the site name, because we have edited the image or the logo image that had come with the site name. Anyway, now back into our header, we are now going to add the navigation, which is from the navigation widget from Elementor and only comes in Elementor Pro. Now we are going to select our container and we're going to come here to items. So these are actually features that may be new to you because maybe it's your first time to use the Flexbox container. So in the Flexbox container, we happen to have new alignment options, like for the direction of the content in the container. So in this case, I'm going to choose them to be in a row, something like this. I'll now select my navigation and I'm going to align it on the right hand side, and under style, typography, instead of it having primary typography, I'm going to choose this to have text. And with our container selected, back to items, I'm going to come here to the justify content option and I will choose space between. I will also align our items to the center, meaning that now our navigation and logo will be centered in the middle of our container. Great. I'll now select the container, come to style, background color. I'll select our secondary color, which is that. I'll now come back here and select our navigation, and we're going to change the text color from normal, and that is going to be a white color. And we will have a pointer, and the pointer is going to be 6 points or 6 pixels. On hover, we want it to stay white, so the text will be white and the pointer color will be white as well. And on active, it's going to be still text color white and it will have a pointer still in white. Great, looks like our header is gaining shape. Since our header is going to be transparent, we'll have to select the container, under style, come to the color, and we are going to make this background a little bit transparent, and you'll see the effect later on when we overlap the home section or the home hero 1 section into the header. It will also be sticky, so under advanced, motion effects, sticky, and it's going to be sticky to the top on all devices. The other thing we have to set up is our drop down icon. So we have to come here to the responsive mode, go to the tablet. We're going to make some changes on this icon, including some padding settings for our logo. So to start off with the toggle, we're going to select this icon, come here to the toggle button. So the color for our hamburger icon is going to be our secondary color, and for the background it's going to be white, so we have it as white. And then we can choose the border radius. You can make it 10, but I prefer to make it like a 7. And then also on hover, it's going to stay the same. We just simply want to maintain the same, so give it a secondary color, and also the background color will be white. So when you click and the drop down menu appears, how do you want these items to appear? So we're going to remove the background color on hover and just make on hover that the text color changes to a blue. So to do that, we are going to come here to drop down option. On normal, the text color is going to be our text color and there will not be any background color. But on hover, this is going to turn to our blue, which is a secondary color, and there is not any background color. So we don't need any background color on hover. So I'll move my slider to the transparent section. Now on hover, only our text turns to blue without a background color. Then on active, we'll make the text color to be blue and no background color as well. Alright, looks good so far. Now let's work on the padding. So I'm going to select my section And padding, I'm going to unlink the values. On top, I'll add a padding of 10, right a padding of 30, and left a padding of 30. Now for our toggle, with it selected, under content, we'll choose the toggle align, and this is going to be on the right hand side. Good. So now we go to the mobile option. Looks good as well. Alright, so I'm going to update. I'll go back to the desktop option, and now I'm able to go straight into my page and start editing the page sections. So I'll go to the page, I'll start editing the page. I'll add a new container, and it's going to be having this direction. I'll make it to be 85% in the vertical height, so minimum height is going to be VH85. I'll go to the style, background type, I'll add my background image, which is this. I'll make it to be fixed, and size will be cover. Then I'm going to come here to the background overlay. I'll add a background overlay of our blue, maybe an 85. Yes, something like this. I'm going to come now to my widgets and grab my heading widget. So this will be welcome to Zion Shoe Clinic. When I select my container, I'll first of all rename it to Hero 1. Not this, but Hero 1. So with the container selected, the items in the container are going to be running down the column, but they should also be centered, and then they should also be justified in the center, just like this. With our heading selected, I'll come to style. The text color is going to be white, and the typography is going to be our heading typography. Now next we are going to come here to the widgets, and we are going to grab our animated heading widget, which comes in Elementor. So here we're going to add the before text as we are great at shoe. Then the after text is going to be since 2007. We can now make changes on what kind of text is going to be animated. But first we are going to change this to rotating, and it's going to be typing. A wave will actually look better. So here we say we are great at shoe repairs, restorations, cleaning, and shining. Each of these words should be on a separate sentence because they represent a full text or a full sentence when the animator or the animation is running. From here, picks up one word here and then completes with this other text after. We're going to change the duration to 1500 milliseconds, and now we're going to come to style. Text color is going to be white, and the typography for this, it's going to be our primary, and for the animated text color is going to be our accent color too, which is this. Great. So we are great at shoe restoration since 2017, shoe cleaning since 2017, and shoe shining since 2017. I'm going to look this up on the mobile devices. So tablet. On the tablet, it looks good, but I'm going to add some padding. Come back here to advanced with the container selected. Padding on the right hand side will be 30 pixels, and the left hand side will be 30 pixels. And I'll add some padding within of 80 at the top, 80 pixels, and 80 pixels at the bottom. On the mobile, so on the mobile we'll have to reduce a little bit on the font size. So I'll reduce on the font size, but also the alignment for the content should be center. Style, typography, so this can be 35. I'll make this a 25 on the mobile, and then we'll also reduce this to an 18. Looks good. Right, now I'll update. Now I am going to move this section to go underneath the header, so I'll select it, and under advanced margin I'll unlink the margins, and I will make this to be 100 pixels but negative. So that will now somehow make our header to be transparent. In case there are some other issues I haven't noticed, I'll be fixing them up before we close up the tutorial. Anyway, now back into our editor, we're going to add our next section, or we're going to be adding our next container. Sorry about repeating the section and section all the time. So I'll add a container in a row direction. Here we are going to use an icon box widget. The heading is going to be open 24 hours, and that's our description. You can add a link or a custom link to whatever page you want, but we are going to align our icon to the left with our icon box selected under style, and make some changes to the icon color, which is supposed to be red, and we're going to change the icon itself. So I'll come over here, look up for a clock icon, which is this. I am going to duplicate this 3 times. Now we will add some styling to this. So I'll select the container, come to advanced padding. The top padding will be 80 pixels and bottom will be 80. On the left we'll add a 30 and a 30 on the left to have a section like this. We will also add entrance animations for each of these. So under advanced, with the icon box selected, motion effects, entrance animation going to be fading up. Same for this. Now let's look this up on the mobile devices. On the tablet, we'll change the icon alignment to be on top, and the text will also be to the center. We'll copy this and paste the same style on the others. Paste style and paste style. Looks better for now. Let's look this up on the mobile device. Oh, looks great here. Maybe we can add some spacing in between the icon boxes. So with the section selected, the container selected, come to layout, items. I'll increase the elements gap to about 60 pixels. That's only on the mobile device. So now we have a good spacing between the elements. Back to the desktop. Now we've done our 2 sections. I'll update. It will actually take us some time to really get used to the term container. So this is Hero 2. We will add another container, and this is going to be in a column direction, or a column. Inside this container we are going to add 2 more containers. So we will have a container and we are going to duplicate it. Alternatively, we can say add a section or a container, and it's going to be 2 column container. So here I'll add a title and a text editor widget. This is going to be our story. Then I'll add the content about this company in here. On the other hand, we are going to add an image, but we are simply going to add that image to the container itself. So by selecting the container, come to style, background, we'll add an image from these guys, insert the image, and we want this image to be cover, and then we are going to position it to be bottom center because we want the focus to be on the shoes. We will select the first container in the first column. Under advanced, we'll unlink the padding and give it a top of 80 and a bottom of 80. And then we're also going to add some padding on the right hand side. So I'm going to come here to the right hand side and add a padding of 30 because we want this to be having some breathing space. Good. So we're going to add a background color to this container. So select the container, come to style, a background color. So now we have given it a background color of blue. And now we are going to have to change the color for our text. So under style, text color white. The next as well, under style, text color is going to be white. We can add some spacing for this text. Under style, you can add some line height. So maybe a 32 looks good for this text here. So far so good. And let's look this up on the tablet device and we see how it looks like. I'll select the inner container or the first column. Under advanced, I'll unlink the values. Top 80, right 30, bottom 80, and left 30. So we add some space here, but it should also still be in alignment with the logo. Now on the mobile device, our story comes first and then the image. So you realize that on the mobile, actually our image disappears, and that is a good sign that something is not going on right. We had to add a spacer widget over here to determine also the height of this image or section, but since we were using padding over here, automatically the height of this section was adjusting. But to be on the good side, we are going to add a spacer widget. So spacer widget, I'll add it here and I'll give it a vertical height of 100%. And now when I come here to the mobile device and now I scroll down, you see that our image now shows up. Good. Now let's go and work on the other sections. So back to the desktop, I'll first of all update. So I'll grab my navigator first and I'm going to rename this container to be our story or about. And we are going to come over here to the hero 2 and we will duplicate this hero, duplicate, and I'll move it to the bottom and I'll name this to be services. So since this is now duplicated and we have it down below here, we're going to simply do a couple of changes. We'll select the icon box. We are first of all going to move the icon to be at the top. Change the title and description. This is going to be shoe repairs, and the icon is going to be stacked and it's going to be in a square. Now when I come here to style, we're going to change the border radius to, this will be a 35, a 35, and a 35. Something like that, or we just make it a 30. 30 probably would look better. Good. We're going to change the icon itself. So we're going to come over right here to the content icon and change this to a hammer, which is this. Insert and back to style. So on hover, the secondary color will still keep white, so we don't have any changes. So I will delete this but duplicate this as well. So this will be shoe shining. I change the icon, look up for a shoe icon. I'll delete this but now duplicate this and change the icon as well. I'll add a gallery or a gallery widget, so to help or enable the person to look through what we do under any of these services. So I can add a new container, and this container will hold our gallery. I'll look up for the gallery widget, and we are using the premium gallery widget. So I'll select my images. Feel free to make changes to the captions and alternative text because it's good for the search engine, but also for your website visitor. We want 3 columns, and we are going to add some padding on this container of 80 pixels at the bottom. So we have some extra space. These pictures, when clicked on, they'll open up in a lightbox, and I have a specific tutorial on how you can customize the lightbox. So how you can make changes to these icons and which colors to show and how your image captions will look like. So in case you want to check that out, I'll be leaving a link right down in the description of this video. Anyway, now back into our editor. We will now save changes, but before we save changes, let's look at how this section looks like on a tablet device. Looks okay. And mobile. We can add some padding on the images on mobile. So on the right hand side, so I'm going to unlink the padding. On the right hand side, we'll put a 30 pixel, and left hand side, we'll put a 30 pixel. And obviously at the bottom, we maintain our 80 pixels padding. The same we'll do for our tablet device. So unlink 80 bottom, 30 right, and 30 left hand side. Okay, now this looks better. Good. Now back to our desktop device, we will update. We will add another container that is going to hold our testimonials. So when I grab my navigation, I want to rename this to be testimonials. I'll grab an icon box again. So icon box. And here we are going to use an envelope icon, and under the title and description we'll add the name of the person who sent in the testimonial via email. And with the icon box selected, under advanced padding, I'll add a padding of 30 all over. So we have something like this. I'm now going to add another container inside this container. First of all, before duplicating further, I am going to reduce the size of this icon. So size of the icon should reduce. 18 looks good. So I'll duplicate this now and move it into the second container. Change the name. With this container selected, the second container that is inside the main container, we're going to come to the items and we're going to change this to row. Now when I duplicate this icon box, that's how it will look like. So we are going to have 4 rows. Alternatively, we can have 3. So 3 rows for our case, and I'll change the names. Good. We will now add a title and a background image and a background overlay as well. So I'll grab my navigator, select the main container, style, background, add a background image and a background overlay. We'll select our background overlay color and we will make it an 85. I'll now select my icon box and change the background color for this icon box. So in this case, I'm going to come to advanced, background, background type is going to be a white. The same will be for the other icon boxes. So select this background type, change that to white. To avoid many clicks, I'll copy and paste the style. I'll now select this whole container. We're going to add a top and bottom padding of 80. And there we are, we have our testimonials. One more thing to do is to add our heading. So I'll grab my heading and drop it into the first container, which is here, testimonials. Center it, come to style, change the text color to white, and for our typography it's going to be having a heading. Now let's look into the responsive settings. I'll add some padding both on the right hand side and the left hand side from the main container. So grab the testimonials widget and link 30 pixels and 30 on the left. Top and bottom padding will be 80 and 80 bottom. I think I can change the icon position to be at the top instead. So icon position top. Same for these others. Let me look this up on the mobile device. Looks nice and neat. I'll update for now. Let's look at the preview of our website. So far so good. Back to our editor, we're going to add another container, and this is going to be a 2-column container or 3070 share. And in here I'm going to add the first column. I'll add our title or heading for the address. Then we will as well add content, and then we'll also add a map on the other hand. So map with the location of your office, Downing Street. You can choose the height. Vertical height will be, or viewport height will be 75. I'll select the container. Under items, everything should be in the center, and the elements gap will be a 30 or 30 pixels, and we're going to add padding top and bottom. So select the container under advanced, padding top will be 80 and bottom will be an 80. So far so good. Come back to our navigator. I'll rename this container as address. We will now add another container that is going to contain our, or that is going to hold our contact form. So this will be a 1-column container, and it's going to have a title, it will be in center or centered, and then it will also have a form. So this is an Elementor form. So you can only use this form if you have Elementor Pro. So we will also add some social media icons that link back to our social media handles down below here inside the same container. I'm going to select the whole section. Under style, background type, we'll choose a background image, and we are going to make this to be cover and fixed with a background overlay of our blue. So background overlay blue and 85% opacity. 85% opacity. Once we are done setting up our opacity, now I'll select the container itself and come up here to the advanced option, and I'll unlink the values and add padding at the top of 80 and padding at the bottom of 80. So we could have something like this. Now back to the layout, and under the items option, we are going to align the items here to the center. I'll now select my title, come to style, and under typography, I'll give it the heading style. The text color is going to be white. And now I'll select my form. Under content, I'm going to first of all hide the label, and for the input size it will be medium. For the buttons, I'll make it medium as well. Actions after submit, we want to collect the submissions, and also we want to send an email. Under the email option, the email content from here will be sent to this email, and this will be the subject field once you receive an email. So here we can say new message from, Zion Store or Zion Clinic, and all these fields will be shown in the message field. And down below here, you can collect the metadata of the person who is sending you the content, the email. So maybe the page URL that they used, but I always prefer to remove everything here because I don't find it really necessary. You really want to know from where they sent the email and the date. You can leave those fields over there, and you want to collect this as an HTML message, not a plain message. Let's go to the style, and under the field option, we are leaving the text color to be black, and typography will say on our already set typography styles, the background will be white. We don't want to have a border, so I'll make this to be 0, and for the border radius we'll put a custom one. So right hand side will be 30, bottom 30, and left 30. So we have something that is a little familiar to this. Then also for the button, so down here to the button, so we unlink for the border radius, 30 right, 30 bottom, and 30 on the left hand side. Great. Now on our social media icons, we can add some icon here. So let me say Instagram. Come to the icon library, search for Instagram. We can rearrange our icons, and we can as well add links to the relevant platforms. For example, instagram.com//your account, twitter.com/your account. We will now go to the style. Under style, we are going to choose to use a custom color, and we will set to be white, and primary is actually going to be empty, so we don't want to have any color for the primary color of the icons. On hover, we can set up a different style. So for example, the accent to color for the secondary color. So on hover, this will turn to something like that. The responsive settings, but before we look into the responsive settings, let me first update. Then I'll come here to the responsive mode and choose a tablet device. And let me scroll way down here. Oh, this looks fine. So I don't have to do anything on a tablet device. Let me go to the mobile. Yes, mobile. We have to do something. Select our container. Come to advanced. I'll unlink everything. I'll let the top remain with 80, right to be 30, bottom 80, and left to be 30 pixels. All right. So I'll update for now. And now I'll go and look at the preview. So we have our header, and scroll down, testimonials, our address, and the contact section, or the write to us section. Now the next assignment is to link these menu items to the sections themselves. So in this case, if someone clicks on the about, they should be taken to the about section. If they click on services, they should be taken to the services section. So first things first. So about section starts here. So I'll select this container, come to advanced, under CSS ID, add the ID as about. in small caps and it should not be used anywhere else on the page. Then here are the section for services or our services. So select the container, come to CSS ID, add services, and this other section or container is for the testimonials. So under advanced CSS ID, add testimonials. And now we have the contact. So the contact section starts from here with the address and the map and then the contact form. So under advanced CSS ID, I'll add contact. Please, you should note that I have used small caps for the CSS IDs, and it is the same thing that I did when I was creating our custom menu items for the about, services, testimonials, and contact. If I'm to go straight or to our menus, so menus, straight to the menus, you realize that when I come to the about section custom link, we have about with the hashtag. That now will link us straight to the about section. The same for services, small caps, services. The same for testimonials, small caps or small letters, and the hashtag. The same for the contact. So now I'll simply update even when it's not needed for now, and now I'll go to the site. But now it's showing us the archive page, which is a blank page. So how do we assign that our page is actually the home page? So what we are going to do is come back here to the dashboard, come to settings, then we are going to go to reading settings, and here we're going to set a static page, and the home page is going to be the home page itself or the page we created. Save changes. Great. Once the changes are saved, make sure that you uncheck this option that discourages search engines from indexing this website. I'll save once again the changes because I hadn't noticed this. I'll come back here and visit my website. Okay, so I'll scroll down. Free delivery. So now you notice that if I click on, for example, the about menu item, it takes me to the about section of our website. If I click on the services menu item, it should take me to the services section of our website. But in this case, it is not doing so. So there should be an issue somewhere. So I'll come over here and look up for the services section. So it starts from here. Select the section, come to advanced CSS ID. Now you see, instead of it being services, I wrote service. So I change that to services and I update. The preview also updates. Now I will click on services and good, takes me straight to the service section. When I click on testimonials, it should take me to the testimonials section. As well, when I click on the contact, and now that takes me to the contact section where someone is able to write to you a message. Looks like we are done and we are through with our one-page website. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I'm so happy I could take you through every step on how you can create a one-page website using the new Elementor Flexbox feature. Let me know about your questions or comments regarding this tutorial, and please don't forget that you can use the knowledge gained in this tutorial or in this video to apply it to any industry. It can be like for a yoga store, a private consultant, or for example you are a tutor or a coach, or for example you are a doctor. You can just sit down, grab a coffee, and in less than an hour you'll be able to pull up such a website without having any technical skills. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, make sure that you give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Have a good time and goodbye.